on the side up here, a chair in the front row. You want to go ahead and come in? Frankly, I'm amazed at the turnout tonight. Thank you, Cle Elum, for coming out to listen. My name is Koshari Eagle. I'm an information officer with Washington Incident Management Team 3. And we wanted to invite folks from the Cle Elum area here tonight to hear directly from the fire managers about the questions that you have about what's going on. Tonight our goal for the meeting is to give you the opportunity to hear directly about the things that are most concerned to you. And I've asked a number of folks around town and that we've talked to here tonight. And what I hear is that you want to know what the fire's doing now. You want to know what we think it's likely to do in the next few days. You want to know how you're going to know if something changes, what the current evacuation levels are, and how you're going to know if those change, how all this help got here, what to do about the smoke in the air if you're having troubles with that, and about what the plans are in case another fire starts. So we have a lineup of speakers here to try and provide that information to you. I know that there may be some people in the audience who have very specific questions about a specific topic or about your particular area and how that might affect you. So with this big of a group, the way that we're going to handle that this evening is that you can see we've put up maps around the wall, and that afterwards, if you listen to the whole presentation and you still have a question that hasn't answered, every single one of these speakers and your elected officials and a few other information officers are going to be around the room at those maps, and you can come up and talk to someone one-on-one and get your individual question answered if it isn't covered in the main presentation. But our goal is to cover all the big stuff with the speakers. Normally, we don't like to be up on stage. I'd rather be down low, but this way at least we can see everyone who's out there this evening. So I've actually put the agenda up here on the board. We're going to have the incident commander, Bob Albee, give you a current status of the fire, what's going on, and what's occurred out there in the last couple days, what happened today, and what we're expecting to have happen, our outlook. And we're going to have Under Sheriff Trey Myers give you information about the evacuation levels, what those mean, what they currently are, how you're going to find out if something changes. And then we're going to have a couple of folks from your local agencies, Cle Elum District Ranger Mary May, and Washington Department of Natural Resources Assistant Manager Wyatt Layton. We're also going to have Trent Wickman, who's an air quality advisor, talk with you, give a little presentation about smoke and smoke impacts, what to do with that. You may know that the smoke in the valley isn't just from the South Cle Elum Ridge Fire. The fire burning north of Ellensburg, the Snag Canyon Fire, is also putting up smoke, and so Sarah Foster will give you an update on what is the state of that fire today. And then we'll talk about what to do, what happens if something changes. Brian Lenz from Puget Sound Energy will give you a little bit about the power. And Suzanne from the Kittitas Conservation District is going to tell you a little bit about her programs available for assessments in defensible space. So I also know that with this many people, it's going to get hot in here really quickly. I really appreciate the senior center, especially Susan and Travis, for helping us get this set up tonight. So I appreciate your patience. As with this many people, I'm sure the temperature in the room will go up, and we will try and move through, cover the basics as quickly as we can for you. We hope that with all these 9 speakers, we're able to get out of here within the next 45 minutes and then have you be able to talk directly to people. Okay, so with that, Bob, do you want to come give a current status of the fire?
Good evening, everybody. Sorry I have an old map for you. We do have a newer map that we'll be getting out tomorrow for everybody. Currently, I'm just going to start on the west end of the fire here. This is the, help me, 4510, but what's it called when it comes over the hill? Woods and Steel. Okay, that's right. So Woods and Steel. Our goal is to keep the fire south of the 4510 road. And we're doing that right now. That's keeping it south of the ridge. Even though it's coming up to the road, it's staying south of the road so far. We have dozer line down the right or the east flank of the fire down to the 114 road. And the fire is indirect and direct against the line and spots there. The fire is actually back down to the 114 road in a few places in here and here. As we come over here, we had a spot yesterday late in the day. This spot has grown together with the main portion of the fire overnight and through the morning today. So, but with that, we've actually got this side of the fire lined with hand line up to a dozer line that we actually have along this ridge. So the fire's in here. As we come up here, the fire last night went to the road. I think everybody saw that yesterday afternoon. And through the night and today, it's worked its way over into this country, into here. And actually, probably more like on this road here. So it's on this bridge and around this road, and then down into the draw again. So a lot of the active stuff you're seeing from town on the west end of the fire is actually stuff down in this drainage. They continue, I saw they were using the scooper tonight to help cool along the road, but a lot of the smoke you're getting is actually down in this country, off away from the ridge top. With this section last night, it burned up to the road, and it's slowly working its way back to where our dozer line is, and it's about in here right now. We have about 270 folks on the fire lines today. We have a contingent of folks out on the line tonight. We actually have a group of folks that are going to work a couple extra hours with those folks, night shift folks, so we have a good transition. And then I think we have another 40 or 60 more folks that are supposed to show up tomorrow. In the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of fires going on, and resources are finite. We have resources here from Utah, New Mexico, Arizona. We actually have folks from Florida and Mississippi working in camp. So we have resources from all over the United States just because that's how low the resources are in the nation. So the outlook is we're going to continue doing what we can. That's all right. We're going to continue doing what we can. That Butte Creek drainage, where the fire's gone across the bottom, is probably going to slowly chunk away over the next day or two or so, and it all depends on the weather. We're supposed to start getting lightning possibly tonight, along with thunderstorms throughout the week, and I think 2 days out they said that the minimum humidity is supposed to be 50 or 60%, possibly. That's what we're hoping for. But we'll see if that holds true. But there is a possibility of thunderstorms with that, erratic winds. So we're going to do our best to keep the fire where it's at. Also, after this weather system goes through, we're going to get back into the same trend that we had this week. So hopefully the weather gives us a break this week and we can keep it where we want to keep it. Thank you.
I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You're saying that our resources are at the max right now. Is there anything as our town folks can do to help? Water, donations, anything?
We've got that covered.
Okay.
We take care of our firefighters rather well. So, but beyond that, take care of each other and help each other the best you can.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Clay Myers with the Sheriff's Office, and it's just water. I know you're wondering. Sure. Okay, evacuation levels. When the fire first broke out, we sat down with the Forest Service and the Slopes and Fire and established the trigger points. And they're not there. The trigger points are essentially our way of all being on the same page. So when the fire reaches a certain trigger point, that tells us we need to implement a level 1, level 2, or level 3 evacuation zone in a certain area. When this fire first started out, we initiated a level 1 evacuation zone in the Woods and Steel area. Those homes just south of there, off of that main Woods and Steel road. The trigger points are basically the ridge, and if the fire runs east over 114 spur on kind of the north end of that, then we'll expand those evacuation zones. We'll move to a 1 in that next development that's north of the West Side Road and east of the Woods and Steel Road. A level 1 evacuation is basically just information. It means there's a fire in the area. If anybody didn't catch that, it means there's a fire there, and you should start thinking about what you're going to do if you have to leave. Okay, you should start thinking about what sort of arrangements you need to make, what sort of things you need to gather up, who you need to notify. Should the fire move over the top of the ridge and establish itself, we'll go to a level 3 or level 2 evacuation. What that level 2 evacuation means is that you need to be ready to go. You need to start putting your plan into place. You need to make the phone call to those in-laws. You know who they are. We might be coming to stay with you for a while. Okay? But those are the things we need to think about. We need to think about if we have animals, if we have livestock, if we have horses. We need to start making those arrangements then. Okay? At a level 3, when it's time to go, it's not time that we want to be doing that. The next level, level 3, means it's time to leave. And we should have all of our stuff in place. We should be talking to our neighbors. We should be making sure that they have what they need to move out. If we go into a level 2 and you find yourself needing some sort of resource or you know you're going to need help, call the sheriff's office, ask to speak with someone in the EOC, and tell them what your needs, what your anticipated needs are, and we'll make those arrangements. There's folks up here in the community that have already called us and said, hey, I have these resources. I can help out. So we have lists of those folks. So again, when you ask what can we do as a community, that's what we need to do. We need with each other, and we need to be a little bit patient. Okay? You're going to see things out there. You're going to hear things about levels, about where the fire is, about what's going on. Be a little bit patient, make some phone calls, and get accurate information. When we're finished here, be over here if you have any specific information, or you folks are local knowledge. So if you have something to contribute that maybe we haven't thought of, please come and tell us. Share them. If you have specific questions about the evacuations or how they'll be done, and I can just share that with you, they'll be done in person. We already have deputies, law enforcement assigned. If we have to change the evacuations, they'll come up to the lax and knock on your door and talk to you in person. They'll hand you some information and they'll answer questions. I'll be right over here if you have any specific questions about the evacuations when we're done. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mary May, who used to bring to church, and I had asked specifically for a little bit of face time because I'm so new to it. I'm sure most of you. I did get the pleasure of meeting Gary Byrne. He came in within 4 days of my arrival to inform me again of this real interested community and what the Forest Service is doing. As you can tell from many of these maps, it's obvious that this fire, the majority of it is on Forest Service lands, but this is all really being managed through a lot of cooperation. And though I'm really new here, I do want to assure you that I'm getting a lot of guidance, support, and cooperation from a number of folks, and I wanted to acknowledge a number of them, starting with the fire district, with our law enforcement, with the DNR, the Washington State DNR. I also wanted to acknowledge that our own staff on the district, many of whom you know, firefighters, the staff, that's where the real expertise is. That's really helping a person like myself in my role, but really, again, the real serious management of this fire. So again, I wanted to acknowledge that and also thank them. And then there's the incident command team that you met, Bob Albee, and all of his expertise with this team as well. So again, I want you to feel confident as I do that though I'm new, there's again a lot of expertise behind this and a lot of experience. I was going to share a little bit about sort of the priorities for this fire, because as a Forest Service, you all know that our number one priority is on this incident and on all of our incidents. It will always be that life safety. It will always be that protection of firefighters and the safe protection of the public as well. And the second priority for us, if you will, the other thing is equally, it is important to us. I will say, again, public safety and firefighter safety is number one. But it's that property conservation. That too is really important. And that's again why all of this cooperation is so critical. So I know you're here to hear more specific facts about the fire. I too will be standing over in the corner, and I wanted to introduce a couple staff that are with me today that have a lot more depth and understanding about this district and the resources here. So Mike Starkovich, most of you probably know Mike. Mike's going to be joining me over there where it says Forest Service. And then I wanted to introduce Shan Madden is here as well. Shan is our forester on the district. So I too will be over there and be available to address any of the questions that you might have. So thank you again for coming.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm Wyatt Lake with the Washington State Department of Natural Resources. DNR is the wildland jurisdictional agency for all the non-federal lands on both of these fires burning. We protect other people's property and state property. We take that responsibility very seriously. Your concerns are our concerns. We're there with the team. Sure you go that. A little closer, sorry. There you go. Should I start over? So, with that, and again, this is the third tough season in a row for this community, and I really want to thank you guys for the resilience you've shown and the support you've shown to our firefighters, the fire districts, the Forest Service staff. It's really commendable. We don't see that in every community, so thank you. A few things the Department of Natural Resources is doing to continue to prepare for what's proven to be a very tough fire season. We've implemented another stage of our strategic burn plan, or burn ban plan. So we've gone to all campgrounds, approved fire pits as well, just to be extra cautious about any new starts in the area. With the impending lightning, we're continuing to bring in out-of-area resources. There's folks from Montana showing up to help us be prepared to fight the next fire. We're going to ask the folks down at Snag Canyon to help lend some support up to this fire, because this one is quickly becoming a priority for us. And I'll be around to answer any questions that folks have. And again, thanks for the support you've shown the firefighters.
Hi, I'm Trent Wickman. I'm an Air Resource Advisor and PowerPoint stuff. So what is an Air Resource Advisor? You may not have heard of an Air Resource Advisor. Basically, we're here to help predict where the smoke's going to go and communicate that to the public. You can go to the next slide. What we do, parts of that job are, number one, we protect and work with monitors. You have an existing network of, a really good network of state monitors. We also can put up some portable monitors to fill in the gaps a little bit. We do a forecast where we look at fire information that we get from the fire folks, overlay that with meteorology, look at some models, and then try to predict where things are going to fall and get that information out. And then we coordinate with a number of agencies. We have a daily smoke call. So we have Department of Ecology, Department of Health, the county health departments, and tribal folks on that call, so that we're all on the same page. So I just want to, right at the start, mention that, who should really be paying attention to this? And I just wanted to get that right out front. Folks with cardiovascular, respiratory problems, the young and the old are particularly should be paying attention to the information that we're putting out. And obviously everybody responds differently to smoke, so if you feel like you're not feeling well, you obviously should talk to your physician. So just a little bit on the current situation. The air quality obviously in the area is potentially being impacted not only by the fire over there, but we also have the Snag Canyon fire. And yet, starting yesterday, we've had a new weather pattern set in where we've had some really light winds and poor dispersion conditions, which is probably great for the firefighters, but for the smoke's not so good. So you've probably seen the smoke settling in the valleys. and we expect the pattern to at least continue for another day. This is the closest monitor to town here. This is monitor in Ellensburg. And you can see that for quite some time we really haven't had many impacts over there, but within the last day and a half, they've really had the smoke start to fall in over there. And we're hoping to be able to get access to a monitor, potentially locate one here in town, because this is quite a distance from Ellensburg and probably not representative of exactly what's going on there, but as was mentioned, the resources are tight, so we're working on that. So big thing is we put out daily forecasts, and if you want to get that information, it's at that site. We had some fact sheets there, but I think they're all gone. That is the site, wasmoke.blogspot.com. We're getting between 1,000 and 5,000 hits a day on there, so it's popular. Besides the forecast, it also has health information there, so you can understand what the colors mean and what you should do with different colors and different categories. Go ahead. And this is just a quick screen capture, what it looks like if you go to the blog spot. You have different cities and you have forecasts out for today and the next 2 days. So that's all I wanted to tell you tonight. I'll be standing back in the corner back there with my trainee Greg, and if you have any questions, come see us after. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Foster. I'm the Public Information Officer with Washington Incident Management Team 1, and we're over in Ellensburg on the Snag Canyon Fire. I'm going to come over to my map. We've been here since Sunday. The fire started on Saturday with a lightning strike, and the Incident Management Team came in on Sunday and has rapidly been trying to get the resources that we've needed for that fire, and as was mentioned, we're sharing some over here. We currently have about 850 personnel. At last count, they were representing 28 states. I think we might have added a couple new states in there, so there's definitely assistance coming in from all across the country, including the Washington National Guard is here as well. So the update I was going to give you is a little bit different than the one I'm actually going to give you. Our fire misbehaved a little this afternoon. So when the fire started, it was in this area, and this is where the structures were lost on the first couple days. The fire then continued to push eastward with the wind event that we had. There's a perimeter that's fairly contained. We're about 30%, I understand we're about 40% this afternoon, this evening. There's a horseshoe around the outer perimeter. We focused on that area first to ensure that the areas where there were homes and other structures was where the fire wasn't going to go. So here and here are looking pretty good. The smoke that we're putting up today is mostly from the north. So in this area, it's tied into the Table Mountain burn from 2012. And this center here is really moving. That's up the Nanum and the Wilson Creek drainage. It's putting up a lot of smoke. There's a lot of fuel. And then this area is where we've had most of our resources focusing the last few days, trying to keep it from progressing to the west. So that's what we've got going. We did have to pull most, if not all, of our resources from the northern portion of the fire off the fire line today. The conditions were just too bad, and with the predicted weather coming in, we wanted to make sure that we could use those resources for initial attack should there be lightning strikes tonight. The resources from that fire are going to be working on initial attack from I-90 north to the Kittitas County boundary, east towards the Columbia, and west to Highway 97. So we've got a big area to do some initial attack to take that extra burden off the local resources, so off the Forest Service, off the Department of Natural Resources folks that they've been staging. That's the kind of the big picture. I'm going to hang out here afterwards with my map, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Lennon of Puget Sound Energy. First, I just want to say thank you to the DNR and all the other cooperators that have been actually restoring some of the transmission facilities that we lost in the Snag Mountain Fire. Just along the Nanum Canyon there, we lost about 2 miles of the transmission line. Normally we have 4 different lines that come in to feed the new substation that we built up in Cle Elum. And currently we have 3 legs of that in service. We have 6 crews working to repair that line right now. And so they should be done by Friday with that last leg. But what I wanted to share is just a couple of the lessons we learned through, unfortunately, the Cle Elum Ridge Fire when it went through like Sunlight Waters and did some damage in homes that are similar to what we see up in Woods and Steel and some of the other communities. If it were to go through there, our distribution system is going to remain energized. So we're not going to de-energize it. So what that means is if your sprinklers are running, protect your properties, things like that, it's going to run until, unfortunately, the lines burn down. But what that means then is that any power line that you would see on the ground, you have to consider it energized, okay? You just have to treat any line on the ground as being energized. And so that means it takes a little longer for recovery back going into properties, things like that, because we have to go in and make sure that it's de-energized before it's safe for people to go in there. So it just takes a little bit longer. But we're just hopeful that won't occur. But just to kind of give you some perspectives, and I'll be over at the map that says power over there if you have any questions.
Good evening, I'm Suzanne Wade, I'm from the Contest County Conservation District. We're an entity that's here to help people with technical assistance, and right now it appears to be defensible space and fuels reduction. So that's what I can provide some expertise for you. I don't have a Firewise workshop for you. I've seen many of you that I have given Firewise workshops. I know a lot of you have done defensible space and have Firewise assessments, but if any of you want one, I'll be available back there at the Firewise and Defensible Space map. I will have my calendar. I can come out to your place. I can give you tips on how to best survive a wildfire if it was to come to your area. And it's best to do it before we get to any evacuation levels. So feel free to contact me. And we want to make your home as attractive to the firefighters as possible, because you want them there defending your home. And it is limited resources. So I apologize ahead of time. I did not bring enough handouts, but I'd be happy to send any to anyone. I got cards, and basically that's what I got.
Thanks, Suzanne. I know that was a lot of information in a short time, and one of the things I wanted to address is that on a situation like this is that you guys know that information changes hourly. The fact that all of you guys came here tonight means that you have the most current information that the incident commander has on this fire. But I did hear about 12 times today that the fire crossed the ridge, that it had spotted across the ridge, that the evacuation levels had changed. And I want to let you know how to get the most current information and what we're doing to try and provide information that is verified from the firefighters who are out there, who are passing their information up the chain of command to the incident commander. And I'll give you a couple sources. The first way that we get information out is that we update the INSA website, and I'll move so those of you who can see it showing up here. The address is at the top. It's insaweb.nwcg.gov/incident/4066. When we get an update, such as a verification from the incident commander that no, the fire has not crossed the ridge, that's the first place that we're going to put it, because that's how we believe we can reach the most people the fastest. We know that not everyone uses the internet or has access to it at all the time. So the next thing that we do is we call your local radio stations. Whatever we wrote on there, we call them and tell them and let them know. So we're calling KXLE, we're calling the Central Washington University station. And you guys, how many people in here heard about this meeting on the radio tonight? So you know that they're pushing our information out as well. The other thing that we do is every morning we write a current update about what happened on the fire yesterday, what the fires is, what they're planning to do on the fire today, and we're distributing that around town. So that if you go to the Safeway, to the coffee shop, to the hardware store, there are a number of places where you've probably seen the current update and map. So I wanted you to know that even though information changes hourly, and even though you may see on Facebook that someone said that they saw something, this is the source for verified information, and we try to get that verified information out as broadly as we can, as quickly as we can, so that you have the accurate information. If anything is to change, especially if if there were to be any change of the evacuation levels, we would be working closely with the Pass County Emergency Operations Center, and you would find it up there first. So that's how you can know the information you're getting is accurate, and I hope that that helps as situation changes throughout the day. I hope that the information that you got here gives you a better sense of what's going on out there and what they are doing. With that, I met our goal, and so I'm going to have all those folks go to their stations around the room. Bob is going to go up here to where it says, go over to that map, and we're going to call that the suppression strategy station. And thanks again very much for coming out tonight. Thank you.